All right. Hello. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hopefully, you guys can see me okay and all that good stuff. Feel free to say hello. My name is Paul Trani. Going to dive into today's creative kickoff, and it's been a minute. Little Paul behind the scenes. That's right. Little buffering, but should be fine now. So looking strong. Feel free to say hello in chat just to make sure it is working for you as well. That would just be awesome. So, hello, Frank. Good to see you here. Doctor Who, Carol. What's up, Keys? Everyone. Alexander. Good. You guys can hear me? Everything's good. Hopefully, we can hear some fancy music as well. So, I assume that's going to be good. This is all sort of like everything we've announced last week. And I'm just going to go ahead and broadcast to a couple other places. All right, cool. Sin, what's up? Good to see you. So this is going to be fun. I just wanted to kind of cover everything that was mentioned last week at our Adobe Max at Adobe Max London. So that's the plan, and this is going to be a lot of fun. And there's a lot I'm going to throw at you. So, because man, things are just changing. So much is going on, right? So much is going on. But good morning to you guys. It's good to be here. So let's dive into this. Just kind of getting some of this squared away so it's not too overwhelming for everyone. Okay, let's switch screens right now. Boom. And welcome, everyone. So last week, Tuesday, to the day, exactly a week ago, we had Adobe Max London where we showed some new things, kind of snuck some things, but also kind of showed what hit like Photoshop on that same day. So that's kind of the stuff I wanted to talk about. I kind of want to just go over everything, if you don't mind. And it's just good for me as a refresher since things are moving awfully fast, you know. And I'm going to start out in good old... Let's make sure my Zoom is working. Firefly. So Firefly, if you haven't noticed lately, it's changed. Alexander, yes, buddy. Good to see you, man. It was a blast. Good to see you, man. It was good to see you last week as well, in the flesh, which was super fun. So yeah, this is new. Firefly Image 2 to Image 3. So this is everything that's kind of new within the past like month. Okay, so Image 3 previews. Basically working on this new Firefly model. We just, type in anything. I did just bottom half underwater, top half out of water. It's a small island with a palm tree, and just kind of ended up with something like this that then we can go ahead and take and download. But just kind of want to point out sort of the realism that we have here. You guys can kind of see, the obvious. One of the new things is structure reference. So I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to get into style reference. So these two are new. I usually don't access them this way. I'll typically go access them another way. But let me just go ahead and favorite this as well. So let's jump to my favorites. Let's take something like these headphones, for instance. Okay, so we've already created a realistic island. Now we have headphones, okay? And now I want to point out style reference. So change the style of these headphones, which this is just a realistic product shot, to something entirely new. And you could pick it from any of these, but you know what I generated? I thought it was kind of neat is I generated some cool like geodes. I don't know, guys. I'm getting weird. I'm getting weird on you. Because I've been getting into like stones and just like I just think they're beautiful. Look at that. Picked up a labradorite when I was in London, which was cool. But I love this texture and this look. And I'm like, the whole idea is like, what if there's another planet that's exactly a lot like Earth that we discovered? And we go excavating there and we start to discover like all this old ancient civilization, which looked just exactly like ours, but a little bit different. So that's the long way of saying I'm going to use this as a structure reference. As a style reference. So look, style reference puts it down here. Photo, hyperrealistic, generate. And we'll see what happens with that. Ooh, yeah, Labradorite, Voodoo Val. You know Labradorite? It's so cool. I have it upstairs. It's just really neat. I'm also a huge fan of Fool's Gold. What is, I'm drawing a blank on what Fool's Gold, what the name of it is. Anyways, so nonetheless, I've added that, and now we get this version. So here we have, using that as a style reference, you can see how it's drastically changed these. So yeah, I just think that's kind of cool. From there, I could share this, all that fun stuff, download it. But that's style reference, just showing you the difference, sort of the before that we had and then the after. So you get the idea. I'm going to take this to another level because I think it'd be neat to do something else that's pretty fun. Let's just, let's go back to old Firefly. Let's not worry about this. But structure reference, if you haven't played with this, this is awesome. So we're just going to take let's get this. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Do we do that? Or we could take a logo. I've done this as well. So let's take this, and rather than uploading this to the style reference, this is going into structure. So there it is, my Adobe A. I don't want all this junk. It's not junk. Sorry, did I say that out loud? I want flowers. Well, maybe not that type of flowers, but I just want something beautiful. Beautiful roses and flowers, majestic, cinematic, hyper-realistic, which is also right there already. But just using that as a logo, just showed you structure reference. Now showed you style reference. Now I'm showing you structure reference. And you'll see what that looks like. And if you're joining me elsewhere, feel free to say hi. I got to click over to that chat. I apologize. Awesome. Afroja. Cool. So here we are. You start to see that Adobe A peek through, and that's what typically will happen. So what do we need to do? We need to crank up the strength. So now it's going to take that Adobe A and really apply it to these beautiful roses and flowers that are just majestic and all this fun stuff. So and that's what's happening. While that's happening, I'm just going to say cheers. Got my coffee. Yeah, and there you have it. Not bad. Yeah, not bad. Let me show you what I've already made for this. Let's click over to this version. So I've already done this 1,000 times on using that same structure reference, and here's the Adobe logo. Again, just going through all these different, look at that. Structure reference. Make it look like Greek statues, etc. Make it look like yarn. Like so. Again, just really cool what you could do with structure reference. Have you guys been playing with that? I hope you have been. I also created this one. This one's really fun. Here's a statue. Here's an image. And I rendered out a bunch of frames, and I used each frame and applied a different prompt to that frame. And then what we get here is this. Sort of the head turning, but it's a different style for each. I know it's looking intense, but I think it's pretty cool. Cool. All right. You get the idea. Structure, style, reference, new things in Firefly. Let's move on. And then also real fast, like I encourage you to, try out a number of things. Here's a child's drawing. So this is my nephew's drawing of like a popsicle, right? A popsicle character. And then I turned it into all these different fun characters all through Firefly. So this is where I did a cute 3D yellow ice cream popsicle character. That's the prompt that I used, but really I started with this as the structure and then made all of these fun characters. Cool. Hey, Apurvia? Are we already? You should feel like you're living in the future when you're watching some of this. That's kind of how it should feel. Yeah. So that worked out well. Let's jump into Photoshop because I know I'm not gonna have a lot of time for a lot of this, and let's just pull this in. I'm already kind of giving away the punchline. Let's turn that off. So let's do this really fast. Okay, so we've created images. We're now in Photoshop. And we have that same Firefly model in Photoshop. And what we also have is we have generative fill, which you're probably well aware of, right? Robert, what's up? The future is now. We'll go to generative fill. Now, rather than just typing something in, this is what's new, is going to this little reference image button. Now, let me point out that I'm not in the typical Photoshop. I'm in the Photoshop beta. So this is where I'll jump in and I'll choose an image. So I will pick an image that maybe I have somewhere in, I don't know, here. I got some shirts someplace. There we go. We'll go with this one. So this is going to be my reference because I'm like, oh, how would I look in this shirt? So that's what I've done. I have it loaded in. We'll click generate. So rather than typing in yellow button-up shirt, I want a specific yellow button-up shirt that is at Hollister. Just kidding. That's kind of more of a super dry, maybe. But there we have it. We've gone from this, let's hide that, to this. Full-on shirt, all based on that reference image. Is that cool? Prompt tips for generative fill in Photoshop would be awesome to hear. Any good resources out there? Thank you for posting that, Val. Here's the biggest tip I could give you is where's most of this stuff coming from? It's coming from stock.adobe.com. So if you're trying to create something around like a bear or whatever, well, if I search on bear in Adobe Stock, these are a lot of the resources that it's pulling from. So I would almost use this as just a way to sort of get the ideas flowing. Because like here's a bear. As I click on this bear, I would want to kind of dive into some of these similar keywords right here and then what it's titled as well. So use the data set source as a way to kind of drive what you want. That's what I would do. Okay. And yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Mel, a ton of creative applications. I've done some other things. Like I started creating this. I'll just, if you don't mind, just indulging me for a second. I started using this. I like using interesting textures and stuff as a reference. So I started using this, and then I started giving this amorphous blob. I would say, make this a jellyfish, make this a tigerfish, make this all these other things. And that's how I've ended up with this. Might take a second to open. It's probably a couple gigs. But I use that same idea, used a reference image. My reference image being what you just saw a second ago, this, and then I started building out this. So let's kind of put that away. But here I'm doing this like infinite zoom. Look at this. Let's zoom, 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 zoom. And there we are. I even use that reference image for like expanding this out. But here, look at this. Cool guy. Look at this guy. Made this underwater fish using this as the reference image, just to give it that same sort of look. So I thought that was pretty fun. Okay. But again, what do we want to do? I want to zoom out. Just working on this infinite zoom. Super fun. Let me know if you have questions. Again, this is just, I like when we release some beta software and some new tools, and I like seeing what the community does with it as well. Here's another one I did. Well, that one's okay. This one isn't that good. Can we be honest? But I think the reference image is a good way to just like give everything kind of a consistent look. And it's just a lot of fun to play with. Let's go back. And take a look at some more quick things really fast in here. Photoshop. Let me pull this up. Here's an island that I was working on, and I started just for fun doing a full-on zoom of an island. So let's take a look at this. You guys ready? It took jellyfish too literal. Yeah, I had jellyfish. So when I load up a reference image, I could use that just that straight as a reference image, or I could use that as like a way to like style whatever I type in there. But here's my infinite zoom on this one. So here we have this guy, and the idea is you zoom out, you zoom out, you zoom out. And I've gotten this far, and this is going to be an eye, but ultimately, like, this is really showing sort of the power of generative expand, which I think is really fun. All right. Anywho. Oh, yeah. Well, Frank, I like hanging out with you too, buddy. You miss my Creative Sparks streams and stuff. I just like, you know, playing around and really seeing how far we could push this technology, which is fun, right? So we released the technology. It's really like the creative community is like super inspiring. Let me roll this back real fast. Hold on. Sorry, this is already in a finished state. But something else we have right in here. What's the most popular thing? And Terry White showed this last week. People need to do is they need to remove the background. So right in here, for this layer, there's now a remove background button. So you can click there. So the number one thing people try to do or need to do is remove the background. And then from there, I can import a background, but then that means I have to find one and all that fun stuff. I'd rather jump in here and go beach. Let's type in beach. Let's take her from a mountaintop onto a beach in 2 clicks. 1 click to remove the background, another click to generate a new background. So that's what we're doing right here. And we'll take a look at just see what it looks like. There's a certain color tone to this. It's like made with looks like it's out of some fancy Fuji camera or something. But there it is. Look, that's what we have. Look at this. So remember, our before was like this, and then here's our after. And it even adds that shadow there and gives me different versions as well. Here's another version. Look at how it matches the tone. Look at that. Complete with shadow. That's Rick. What's up, buddy? Guys, can I live stream more? Because I just missed you. I missed you guys. Man, can we just hang out more? Dang it. But keep in mind, this is beta. So just kind of be aware of that. That's all. Right now, it's giving me 6 images, but really it gives me 3 images, but it duplicates them. These 2 are exactly the same. But what you'll also notice in here is this little button right here, which we're working on. This is an upscale button. Don't tell anyone. You shouldn't know about this, but that's an upscale button. What's another thing we could do? Let's say we like this. Actually, I like this one the best. We could take any one that we like the best and say, hey, generate similar, rather than typing in beach again or whatever. It's like we could really start to refine this. So what do we have? Remove background, generate background. For anything we generate, eventually you're going to have a upscale option and generate similar as well. So those are all the new options. Here's our generate similar beaches. Some with less shadow, it looks like. This one kind of is still the best. So yeah, awfully nice. I got about 7 more minutes. All right, cool. Keys, just reading your notes there. Sweet. Okay, so let's, I talked about some things in Photoshop. There's more things probably. Let me just check my notes that are just like, I'm kind of embarrassed at how bad some of these are. Generate similar. Oh, adjustment brush. Let's get into adjustment brush, which is not a Gen AI thing. But now that we've created this, it's like, okay, now I want to paint on it. So typically what that means is what some people will do. And let me actually open up an underwater image. I think I have a cool image if you give me a second. I should have had all these open, but things are happening fast. Okay. Here's a case where I have this underwater image. And typically if I want to paint with light, I would jump in, maybe change my brush, and like paint on top, okay? And then maybe on a new layer, and then you change the blend mode. So you'd paint, but then you change the blend mode to say overlay, right? So that's how I'd start painting in light, right? Just like that. You don't have any control. It's gonna be this bright. Maybe at best you can adjust the opacity. So, you know, this only works like so well. It is kind of cool, but there's an easier way. So that's why I want to introduce you to the adjustment brush right over here. Adjustment brush tool. Let's zoom in on that. Adjustment brush tool. Right up here at the top, here's all your adjustments. So all your adjustment layers, we could paint with brightness and contrast. Let's increase the size of this brush real fast and decrease the hardness. But now when I paint, it automatically creates a layer and it's actually creating a mask on top of that layer. So now I have these sliders. So now I can really amp this up any way I want, because this is an adjustment layer. So what would I do from there? I'd probably even like change this. Let's go with hue and saturation. Let's just go new layer, hue and saturation. Like paint some more, and I'm just showing you that I'm actually painting with this hue and saturation layer. See how I've just given it a pop of color? And this already looks like a lot better, if you ask me. So again, really cool what you could do with these adjustment brushes. Saves you time, because you know this, Michelle. I know Voodoo Val knows this. It's really just creating this adjustment layer with a mask, and then you're painting on that layer mask. So honestly, it's like a good way to learn. And the great thing is these settings get saved. So anytime I use brightness and contrast, if I decide to use it again, it's going to give me that same intensity of my same settings, which is nice. Okay. So adjustment brush, making things, making them pop, making them look fun. Let's go back. Let's jump into Illustrator. I only have like 5 minutes. Text to vector. Right? What if we want to jump in here and draw out something? We know text to vector can do some cool stuff, but right in here, check this out. I just drew this shape. So I want this to be like a planet or a moon. We'll click generate, generate moon within that shape that I've drawn. Okay. It's going to create something within that shape. So we'll give it a second. So this is awesome. This is freaking ridiculous. Circle's it's not that complex. I need a better example to really show this off. But think about just creating the outline for something and then telling Illustrator to fill it in with whatever you want. Like you draw the shape and you call it a rocket. You call it a robot, whatever. Boom, there we are. So there's our moon, and we have 3 different versions, just like that. Okay. And all I did is draw that circle. Okay. Honestly, from there, I would, there's more I can do. It's currently matching the artwork style right there, and content type is also in here. So we're like actively sort of still working on this sort of properties panel. So you're going to notice this looks a little bit different. But think about doing that for sort of any shape that you want. You're like, okay, well, let me make a rocket ship with these 2 shapes. There they are, right? Center them. Do all that jazz. Boom. Generate rocket ship. It's going to fill that in. So fits the style too, Marsha. I think that's the most important part. It's like, make it look like I made it, like my stuff. That's the goal, or keep within the campaign look. Otherwise, I'm like, I might as well be using some clip art. You know, if it's not going to match, then it's only so much of use to me. Yeah, hopefully it's going okay. There we are. Look at that. Oh, there's my rocket ship. We're actively working on this, and this is in the Illustrator beta as well. Okay, so there it is. Oh, one more thing. Good thing this should be pretty fast. InDesign hasn't been given some love. Well, let's give it some love. Let's get rid of that chump. Right in here, InDesign. What do I need for this? I would love to get an astronaut, text to image in that shape, astronaut, looking out over an alien landscape. Generate. That's right, text to image beta is in the InDesign beta now as well. So, yeah, too many things going on. Boom, there it is. And I could have given it a style, but look at that already. It's rocking and rolling. I kind of like that one. You get the idea. And this is also an image. Look, in there. That's a text to image beta image. So that's it, guys. That's all the time I have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Look at all these that I created over here. It's like so cool. But thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys. And I just like seeing my old friends, guys. Can we hang out more, please? Please, Adobe Live people, can I hang out more with you guys? All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much. Stay in touch, and we'll see you online soon. Thanks, guys. See you.